The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hey everybody, this is Ken Krell. Welcome to today's program. Before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping tips before we get formal. If you can hear me, I want you to put in the chat, give me a yes and where you're from, so I can be sure we do have a proper sound check. We have a lot of people here today, and I want to make sure everyone gets to hear what is going on. So today will be participative. So if you would honor that by just letting us know that you're here. I see Ted's in from Michigan, Bill's in from Seattle. We've got somebody, I can't really read your name clearly. Stafora, is it, from Singapore? Congratulations, welcome aboard. So if you're here, if you would just put let us know that you can hear me okay. And Chris, can you hear us okay back there? I want to be sure that you can hear us as well. We have a big presentation for you today. That's going to make a giant change, I think, for you guys. So today will be collaborative. And again, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me all right. So if you can, how are we doing on audio? Can you guys hear me okay? If you would just pop in the chat. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. Today, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count down to 3 and get the show on the road. Okay, and Chris, just do me a favor, just pop in the let's see if it's here. If you've done it in the chat area here. 1 second. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so we're good to go. All right, you guys. Today is really all about how to create freedom in your life, how to create and buy high-profit web businesses for rapid growth. Now, we say rapid growth. The bottom line really is about how you're going to save time, energy, effort, and money and really build an online business without doing all the work. So today is going to be participated. And what that means is that you're going to get the most value by actually participating in this session with me. So in a live event, very simple, we can look in your eyes and we can walk through the audience and tap you on the shoulder so we can communicate with you. Here in a webinar, it actually requires something a little bit different. So the chat area is going to be where you will get to communicate with me. So for Alicia and Mark and Ted and Fred and Mary and Louise and all the rest of you that are here with us today, just be sure and go into that chat. And if you can right now, just give me a big yes if you're ready to move forward here. Okay, so just go right ahead and give me a big yes in the chat. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. And Alicia raised her hand. Fantastic. Okay, perfect. So let's get going here. Today, as I said, is all about that. And for those of you that don't know me, this is me. I'm the founder and executive director of Institute for Totalpreneurship, where we help entrepreneurs become totalpreneurs, because totalpreneurs have it all, and that's all about lifestyle. I've been training entrepreneurs for nearly 30 years in both investments as well as business strategy, marketing strategy, and success strategy. So, and by the way, it did not start from ultimate success or beginning of success. There's a lot of pain and suffering along the way, which I guess is what gives me wisdom rather than just luck. So you're going to hear a little bit about that over the course of the next hour. With me today is my partner, Eric Roberts. Eric is from Australia. You'll get to hear that voice in a second. But home for him right now is Bali, and he's got a great story because Eric, quite frankly, has I'll just let him tell it. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Ken. How are you this morning?
And by the way, it's morning here in Bangkok, where we are. I know a number of you guys are in the States, where it would be Wednesday night, but this is Thursday morning here in Bangkok. Why don't you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what your story is about?
Yeah, sure, no worries, Ken. So I started at the ripe old age of 16 in radio and was indoctrinated into my father's business. And I actually, by the time I was 18, I was running it due to unfortunate family circumstances. And so I did that for a number of years, and we started with one radio station. I went on to grow it to 7 and sell at a huge profit. I then went on and did some consulting in the States because I had the media chasing me around in Australia, and I really wasn't interested in dealing with them. And so then while I was in the States, I created a movie called Fern Gully. Some of you may recognize that name. It was the the most successful non-Disney animated feature film in history, actually, at the time. So from there, I went on and created what later became the world's first travel blog. And I traveled around Australia, and it was the #1 and #2 website in the world at the time in 1996. And after that, I actually ended up in the tourism industry in Fiji, and I built out a resort, and it became the most important cultural centre in the South Pacific. But unfortunately, there was a coup in Fiji, and I lost everything. And that's when I kind of went back to Australia with my tail between my legs and conceived of Intervestor, which then took me on to recovering everything. So this is some of my friends in Bali, colourful characters, and these are just some photos of myself and my wife and my kids and various other things. So this is normally where you see all the fast cars and that sort of thing, but it's not the lifestyle I choose. And one of the beautiful things about Intervestor is it gives you the capacity to choose whatever kind of lifestyle you want.
And that's the whole point of this whole process. I mean, we're here hanging out in Bangkok, but we could be anywhere. Eric's headed back to Bali soon. I'm headed to to Laos very soon, other parts of the world, because we want to enjoy our life the way we meant for it to live. How many of you guys would like to actually have a lifestyle that if you wanted to travel someplace today, you could actually do that without having to worry about your business or about cash flow or money? Would that be amazing? So you guys can just communicate with us in the chat and just let us know. But today, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the 5 key steps to Intervesting and how you can put them into place for your own success. We'll then talk about the sobering, that's it, the sobering stats. Obviously, someone needs to sober up here. The sobering stats and how to win when you are faced with them, because the odds are stacked against most entrepreneurs. You'll also learn the formula for success in this business and how to start safely, because while we are talking about investing in your future, we want the word investment to mean safe. So that's what we're going to cover over the next hour or so. Now, by the way, I'm sure there's no surprise that there's going to be some sort of an offer at the end of this presentation. So here's my promise to you, and my question for you. If we give you great content, and by the way, we will give you outstanding content that you can apply to your business and to your life. Do we have your permission to spend about 10 minutes to give you a great offer to consider? And if that sounds fair, please type the word yes into the chat, and we'll wait for that. Now, by the way, it's all up to you, and we won't do it unless we give you something that you can use in your business today, and of course with your permission. So yeah, we got yes from Alicia, yes from Mark, yes from Tim, yes from Mary. Okay, actually, Alicia says YED, which is great. We use that. YED actually is a software program, Alicia. But great, we'll go ahead and we'll do that, because it's all about giving you the tools to proceed and get your life in a much better position. By the way, for those of you that are here now, at the end of the session today, we'll give you access to the 8 key steps to Intervesting, which is a full what is it called? Infographic. That's it, with the tools you'll need. It'll be very helpful for you. What you're looking at right now is it's the stress of running a web-based business. I mean, if you think about what your main concerns in running a web business are, it looks kind of like this, doesn't it? And when you start thinking about all the things you got to do to put a web business into the profit side of the equation, that's what you're dealing with. In fact, many years ago, Rich Schefren created this slide, and in fact, I was there when he released that at Big Seminar quite a few years ago, and this freaked me out when I saw it. All the things that we've got to do as web owners, as web business owners, it's pretty significant, a little bit overwhelming, right? When I saw that, this is how I felt sitting in that audience. It was kind of crazy. And for those of us that are in the business, it kind of feels like you're going to get up every morning and this is going to be what you're greeted with. Good morning, let the stress begin. Now, by the way, is this what your life is like right now in your business, in your life, and the way you're living? And is this the way you'd like to live? Well, of course not, obviously. We want to be able to do something a little bit different. Hell, we want to do something a lot different, which is really having the lifestyle that provides you with the income and the freedom and the ability to do what you want, when you want, where you want it on your own terms, right? So that's the whole idea. Bottom line for us is we want to go ahead and give you the tools to, as this slide says, keep calm and pick a winner. I mean, think about this for a second. Our objective today is to help you learn how to create and identify and purchase digital assets, aka website properties that cash flow, that bring you income every single month. Every single month. In fact, every single day of every single month, right? And ultimately every single minute of every single hour of every single day of every single week of every single month. You got the point. So the bottom line for us is this. Considering the fact that the odds are stacked against entrepreneurs, that 90% of all entrepreneurial businesses fail, that's right, 90% fail, I want you to have better odds, okay? What we want to do is absolutely pick a winner. In fact, think about it this way. Wouldn't it be great if we could go to the racetrack and know which horse was going to win before we ever got there? Well, it takes doing some research. And we will be able to pick that winning horse before the race ever begins. Before we ever leave for the racetrack, we're going to know which web properties are going to be the ones that will bring us the profit that we want, that we need, that will propel us to the lifestyle that we want. Okay, fair enough? Does that make sense for you guys? If that's what you want, if that's a strategy you'd like to play with, just pop a big yes in the chat, and we'll go further here. And I'm seeing a bunch of yeses coming through. Fantastic, you guys. This is great. So let's compare Mr. New Business, okay, this is the person that does the startup business, with our Ms. Intervestor, who's just hanging out on her laptop. In this case, it's her laptop, wherever, all right? Our person that likes to gamble his success is spending a ton of money on education. I mean, a lot of money on education. If you think about all the money, I should probably ask you how much money you guys have spent on your business education. It's in the multi-thousands, isn't it? I know for me, Eric, it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably the same for you. So you got a lot of money in education, years of time to build your business. If you're going to start a web business, as many of you have, you know you don't turn profit in day one. It's going to take you a while to build that business up, to drive the traffic, to start creating cash flow in nearly most of these businesses. Next, you've got a ton of negative cash flow, because until the cash starts to come in on a consistent basis, you're putting in time, energy, effort, and a lot of money in building that website, putting it all together, okay? And of course, there's stress. You've got no leverage because you're putting in cash to build that business, and that cash is going directly towards business creation, which means that you don't even have a business you can sell right now. There's not an asset that you have yet. You may have a great idea, but until that idea proves itself, it's not saleable. So what do you got? You got a dream, and you got ambition, and you got a lot of money out there. Now, let's take a look at the alternative with Ms. Intervestor. She's going to put some money into education too, but not nearly as much because she doesn't have to. She's going to short circuit her years of time because she's going to put money into investing in her business rather than just education. And that short circuits things immediately. You have instant success because you get instant cash flow. That instant cash flow comes because the moment you close on the property, as if closing on a piece of real estate, you've got rent, you've got income coming in for you the moment you close, which is pretty significant. A whole lot less stress, a whole lot less fear and worry and aggravation, again, because it's already done for you. You've already got the system in place. So you get to play a lot more. You're totally leveraged if you want to be, because you can finance the business, right? And you can even leverage your time by having other people run the business for you, since it's already in play and already systemized. And certainly, last but not least, you can sell the thing tomorrow. It was saleable today. It's saleable again tomorrow. So that gives you an asset that no matter what happens, you can still sell it and get out if you choose to. There's always an exit strategy in place. Now, we're not looking to have you go ahead and flip websites. That is not what this is about today. This is about buying them and holding on to them for cash flow so that you can have steady, stable, dependable income to be able to build your life. In fact, I want you to think about it this way. If you were to go ahead and plant a garden, we're kind of spring, summerish now, right? Actually, I guess we are in summer. And you want to go ahead and plant some flowers or grow some flowers, you'd go to the store, you'd buy some seeds, and then maybe 6 weeks later, the seeds for these impatiens, my favorite flower, they look like this. After 6 weeks, that's what you got. Now, I don't know about you, but I want flowers today. I mean, how many of you are immediate gratification people that you want it now? How many of you want it now? Put in the chat and give me a big yes. Exactly. So here's the alternative. You go, if you're in the States, you go to Home Depot. If you're in Canada, they have Home Depot as well. You go to the States, you get Home Depot flowers. That's what I used to do when I was living in the States. So you pick up a couple of flats of impatiens like this. In fact, if you're lucky to get them on sale, you save 30%. And that afternoon, you put them in the ground, and now you've got a garden. Done. Within a couple of days, it grows in like a good haircut, gets itself settled, And now you've got a garden almost instantly because you chose to do things the fast way and the more effective way. A lot less expensive, by the way, because those flats cost just about as much as those seeds with a lot less time, energy, and effort. Does that make sense? So that's the whole idea, you guys, of actually creating that business model. Now, for some of you that saw an email talking about a website where you could get, or how you get 37,000 customers immediately, I wasn't fooling around. This is where we found it. We went to a website called Flippa, and I found a website that's for sale right now, as a matter of fact, called Extension to Vendor. 37,000 active users, and it is for sale right now. You could have tonight 37,000 active users, customers that could buy your product that already are buying or using someone else's instantly. My question for you is, what is 37,000 active users worth? In fact, let me ask you this. What would you pay for 37,000 active users? Just pop in the chat and let me know what you think 37,000 active users would be worth to you in your business right now, or in any business. And by the way, I'll give you a little hint. If you were selling an email list, an email customer list, generally that's going to have a value of about $1 a user. $1 a user. Just a little hint. So what do you think this should go for if we're going to value these 37,000 active users? Any ideas? I see $10,000, I see $20,000, I see $5,000, and I see Lillian has it right. Congratulations, Lillian. 37,000 active users. You can buy it right now at flippa.com, unless things have changed over the past 24 hours or so, for $7,500. Okay, for $7,500. So is that a great deal? Well, considering the fact that people, again, are marketing lists at $1 a name, yeah, that's an outstanding deal. Now, big question is, what's it worth to you? Because if you're not in the niche that this thing applies to, it won't have the same value. So, of course, you're going to buy strategically, and that's, again, part of what this is all about. There are phenomenal numbers here, you guys. Are you starting to see some things that are getting you a little bit excited? Watch this. Let's take a look at a website, a digital business that you can buy for $25,000, rounded numbers. And there's plenty of them out there. You'll see that in just a moment. Now, we're not buying any business unless it has a minimum cash flow of at least 30%. In this case, we're finding them generally in the area of about 50% rate of return. In other words, $12,500 a year coming in. It's $1,040 a month of income. How many would love to have $1,000 a month coming in consistently, regularly, month after month, day after day, right? That's a 50% rate of return. Where in this world can you get a 50% return legally right now? I don't know any place you can do that. But here, with digital assets, you can. Now, let's take a look at how this really works. If you got a cash flow of $1,000 or $1,040 a month, and you want to leverage this, if you don't have $25,000 cash just laying around to be investing, or if you don't have access to your IRA or 401k, and by the way, if you do have access and can self-direct it, this is a perfect way to do that. Anyway, with this cash flow of $1,000, let's say we just put it on our credit card. And by the way, we have a complete financing capability with a couple of joint venture partners that can help you develop lines of credit of up to $200,000 interest-free for a while, okay? So if you bought it with your credit card and paid interest, I think I computed this at about 15.9% using one of those online credit card payment calculators. That's a monthly payment, $563 a month, which means that at the end of the day, after you paid your credit card, you've got $477 a month in the green, in your pocket. And how much money have you spent out of your own pocket? Zero. That's nearly $6,000 a year of income with zero money out of your pocket. Folks, are you getting excited about this? This just is what got me so thrilled about the whole Intervestor model, because you can leverage your purchase. You can buy this like you buy real estate. And this really is just like digital real estate. Now, some of you are out there probably thinking or wondering, and certainly your friends probably are when they ask you, what are you doing? Shouldn't you get a real job? Is this a real business? Because frankly, people ask me all the time, what do you do? Where do you work? And I'm like, I work from where you sit, where you see me. If I'm in a coffee shop, I work out of the coffee shop. Is it a real business? You tell me. We found this infographic on Facebook and posted it on our Intervestor Facebook groups. Uber is the world's largest taxi company, but they don't own any vehicles. Facebook, we probably think Facebook's owned by the CIA because they know everything about you. They don't create any content themselves, and they're the world's largest or most popular media owner. Alibaba, which has a $1 billion+ valuation, has no inventory. And Airbnb now is the world's largest accommodation provider, yet they don't own any real estate at all. This is a change, a sea change in the world of business, you guys, and it's time to step on board because, quite frankly, it's remarkable. And that's where we want you to be playing the game right now, is in this market. If you see the benefit here right now, just pop in the chat and give me a big yes. Okay, so what is Intervesting? I'm going to let Eric take this one.
Excuse me, Ken. Intervesting is the art of finding, evaluating, and buying existing profitable website businesses. So we basically go out and find businesses that are doing really well, that the owners of have decided to sell, and there are a bunch of reasons why they do that, and very valid ones, and we acquire them and create instant cash flow.
The keywords instant cash flow. Okay, so that's the whole model. It's a fantastic model. Now we're going to show you how to do it yourself, but you'll be thrilled to know that not only you get to do it yourself, but you also get to, when you join our buyers club, you get to do it with us as well. We've set up actually just recently a group that we buy sites together so that we can help you actually create that change immediately rather than waiting and wondering and getting worried. So we'll tell you more about that later. Anyway, let's jump right in. So one of the number one places to buy websites is a site called Flippa.com. Some of you may have heard of it. Now, Flippa.com, because of the word Flippa, makes you think that it's specifically for flipping websites. Well, quite frankly, we do not want to be flipping anything. We want to be buying established websites for profit. We do not want to be buying them and instantly flipping them. We want you to have cash flow for the future. If you simply buy them and flip them, then you're not in the buy and hold business anymore. You're in a rehab business, and you're back on the hamster wheel of doing and selling, and you don't have anything that's stable for yourself. So we want you, now that's not to say you won't want to sell something in the future if it doesn't fit your portfolio, but for our general strategy, it's to buy and hold to have a stress-less, cash-free or cash big life, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to look, by the way, at Flippa.com. One of the first things we're going to do is go ahead and look for established websites, sites that have been around for at least, well, we started looking at sites that were about a year in age, but right now we want to see sites that are closer to 2 years and higher. And the reason for that is simple: this history. Someone that's got a website up that's been up for 3 months does not have a trend, does not have anything you can count on. Just like the credit bureau looks for years of credit history, we want to see years of business history, just like any lender would when they're looking at a history to see if they want to lend or invest in a property. So here's a property, and by the way, I'm talking about properties. These are digital properties. This is a property that Eric found a while ago. It's a real site that actually they invested in called Techie Passion. You want to take us through this?
Yeah, sure. So the key here, Ken, is that, when you're starting a business, you're investing a bunch of money anyhow, and reality check is that you generally are going to invest the same kind of money that you will in buying one of these over the longer term, but you've got no guarantee that it's going to work. So when you take a business like this one here, Techie Passion, which at the time I think this was sitting at around $23,000, and look at the monthly revenue on this. It's $4,680. So as you can see here, around about 4 to 5 months, and you've recovered your total investment at that price. Now I know that this particular one sold for $28,000, so it's around about 6 months. Thereabouts.
It's still remarkable. You get your money back in 6 months. What is that? A 200% rate of return? That's insane. I mean, how many would like to have a 200% rate of return on your investment? Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. So what do we do with this?
But the thing is that immediately from the day you take it over, you know you're making money.
Yeah.
You're not putting in $26,000 or $28,000 over the next year trying to get your business going and hoping that it'll be profitable. This is profitable from day one.
Amazing. So what do we do when we look at this? When we look at this to actually decide it's something we want?
Yeah. So there's a couple of key things here. First of all, and this is training, guys. This is not conceptual. The first thing you look at is to see whether or not the site has some age to it, and in this instance, it's 1 year old. And look at the charts there just below that. You'll see there's consistent growth in this, and this is something that we really look for. The next thing is we want to make sure that it's got good quality and decent traffic, and in the instance of this site, yes, it does. And then, of course, the profitability is an important thing. Now, I see lots of sites in Flipper where there's tons of traffic, but it's not making any money. So we want to make sure that we buy a site and have a business that is actually established and making money.
Right. Now, there's an exception to that, which we showed you a few minutes ago, and that is if you've got a customer base and you're buying the list of customers. In the case before, it showed no revenue because there were a lot of free users, but they were users that were engaged with the product. So very quickly that could have been...
It's a more advanced strategy we buy for traffic and things like that.
Absolutely.
When we already have existing businesses that are in the same niche, and then we find other ways that we can draw traffic to that. And one of the fastest ways is to use exactly the same methodology as we do for buying the monetized sites to buy sites that will actually drive even more traffic to our existing monetized sites.
Exactly. So if we take a look at this and kind of summarize how it looks, here's the numbers and how they play out. It ultimately got purchased for $28,000. The monthly revenue, as you saw earlier, was...
This is the net revenue. The other number was a gross revenue number.
Which is, and by the way, there's a difference between gross and net. So we always want to be looking at net. All right, so it's $4,645 per month coming in. Annually, that's over $55,000, which gives you a rate of return of 200%. That's Intervesting. Okay? How many of you are excited about that? How many of you would love to have a $200,000...
200%.
Well, how would you like to have a $200,000 income as well? I'm excited about this. And I love $200,000. But anyway, let's talk about the actual buying system itself. Okay, the Intervestor buying system, that's the ROI, 200%. Crazy, amazing. But the buying system is really sophisticated, yet very elegant and simple when you look at it, because it is a system. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look for the most active websites that are there, the ones that are actually bringing in the most. In fact, we want to just run through it real quick.
Yeah, sure. So we look for the most active sites. At least that's the first place we look. There's lots of other places that we can look and techniques that we can use. But the predominant one, when you first sit down in front of your computer, is you go to the most active ones and see what's going on there. Next thing we look at is the revenue. We make sure that it actually is making money and that the rate of return is good compared to its overall business. We then check the traffic, and we want to make sure that there's quite a bit of traffic. If you have a website that's making good money, but it's only doing it on 5 sales a month, if you have one person disappear, you have a 20% drop in your income. So really, you want websites that have a lot of traffic and smaller amounts for each sale. And so that way, if there's a bit of a drop off, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't impact the income so much. And then we want to make sure that it's an aged business. We don't want to buy something that's 4 months old or 6 months old or even a year old now. We want it to be older than that because we want some history. If we wanted to go into a bank and borrow some money, we would need to show them some history of its transactions. And so age is really important. And last but not least, we then we compile this, and we basically go in and do this 5 to 10 times, and then we pick the winner out of those, because one of those you'll keep finding. It's very addictive. You'll find fantastic websites, and you go, oh my God, this is amazing, and then you got to stop at this point and put it in a list and then go and find another one. And then once you've got a few of them, one of them will really stand out, and then that's generally the one that we go on and do the next stage of the system, which we'll take you into soon.
Yeah, so the bottom line is it's all focus, again, and that's why we have a system. Now, let me ask you a question. there is a ton of websites available out there. I mean, there's crowds of happy people buying websites. My question for you is, what do you think the average website sells for right now? Let's just use Flippa as an example because it's the largest site selling brokerage in the world. What do you think the average website sells for on Flippa? Average. Just pop in the chat and let me know what you think. I've got someone saying
10?
someone said $10. No,
No, 10,000.
Oh, 10,000. Oh, is that what that was? Okay, 10,000. See, 10,000, $7,500. I see $11,000. All right, let me put you out of your pain and misery, you guys. Average site sells for $1,200, which nearly every one of you can manage to pay in cash. Okay, $1,200. Now, by the way, there's over 1.5 million listings right now of sites for sale. There were 16,000 people that bid. By the way, these numbers came straight off the Flippa page. I just copied and pasted here. They've sold $811,000 of websites. And by the way,
in the last 7 days.
Yeah, in the last 7 days when I shot this, just about a week or so ago. And by the way, they've sold, of those 1.5 million websites, for example, they've sold about half of them. And now, by the way, there's still open listings, but they're selling a ton of them. At 52% of their listings are sold within the past 3 months.
I think the point that Ken's making here is that there are a lot of choices out there, and a ridiculous number of choices, more than you could actually sit down and look at in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, it's really pretty crazy. So that's the bottom line, you guys, is that now is the time. It's still an immature market. There's plenty of opportunity for you. And in fact, we believe that it's critical that you do this now, because we're starting to see people getting more, the institutional investors getting involved in this. And what's going to happen is the yields are starting to drop. In other words, where 50% used to be our minimum, now it's 30. Okay, you're going to start seeing your rate of returns dropping if you don't get in the game right now, because more and more people are seeing what we're seeing and what you're learning today.
This is a really important point, because if you look at this and you think, well, 50% returns, why? That's crazy. It's too good to be true. But the reality is, it's because it's an immature market. It's because that mainstream investors are not in this market. They don't understand it. And there's a sort of a technology barrier that's existing. But it's a fantastic opportunity because you get in fast.
Exactly. So let's take a look at this and compare this to real estate. Okay, real estate has its own inherent risk. And I've been a real estate investor for decades. I mean, more than half my life. Real estate has its inherent risk. And for those of us that thought real estate could never fail and got hit pretty hard, I mean, I was forced into a second bankruptcy a few years ago because I thought real estate would never fail. There's a lot of risk in real estate still. And there's a lot of regulation, especially if you're in single-family housing or really any kind of property that involves humans, which is all of them. Okay, there's a boatload of regulation, which is getting worse rather than getting better. You've got to manage that property, and not only are you managing tenants, but you're also managing managers, and you're managing, again, the physical element of the property as well. And back in the old days, pretty much you had appreciation if you breathed. Now there's zero guarantee of any kind of appreciation or value increase in that property, which is what most people are buying property for, which means that we do not have any idea what your rate of return is going to be, what your return on investment is. In fact, more and more I've been hearing investment advisors talk about the death of real estate. And by the way, I love real estate, but I also love less risk. And from the standpoint of having a portable life, real estate still involves something physical that you have to be responsible for. So there's still, if you're managing real estate rather than just flipping it, there's still something physical that needs to be maintained. And unless you're physically there, then you're relying on others for everything. And, on something that's as serious as real estate, where someone could trip or get hurt or whatever, having been through all of those parameters, I want you to think about something that's a lot less physical and much more virtual to allow you to have more freedom. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm looking to have you do. Now, think about this for a second. Going into the virtual domain, the statistics are pretty remarkable. Now, while this gentleman's taking his MacBook Pro to the squash or racquetball court, he's only about one of 40% of the people in the world right now that are actually online, which means that 60% of the world population is untapped market for all of us. Now, by the way, global e-commerce is off the charts and still growing. 1.2 trillion with a T transactions in 2013. Now, Amazon in that year rose in its transactions by over 27%. And would you think that Amazon is the #1 online retailer? Any ideas who the #1 online retailer is? Hint, it's not Amazon. If you go ahead and Google it, you'll find that it's Urban Outfitters. Now, why is that significant? It's because Urban Outfitters is a physical store. It is a physical store, and Urban Outfitters very brightly decided they needed to get into the digital game, and they are now the highest volume and biggest growth online store out there. That's pretty significant. That's pretty significant, which means opportunity for us. It's a growing marketplace. It looks just like this growth curve, and I believe it's unstoppable, which is why I put our little girl here, because she's going to grow no matter what. Okay, so is this. And that's growing in light of dramatic changes to the physical stores. I mean, we're seeing store closings all over. Names that were too big to fail are failing. Blockbuster is one of those great examples that completely blew it to Netflix. They didn't see what Netflix saw, and even when they had the opportunity to catch up, they were too stuck in their own ways and were not flexible enough to make those changes, that they failed. And it's such a shame, because I love Blockbuster as a brand. I love being a Blockbuster customer. And they had every bit of infrastructure, and I had customers, I mean, billions of customers. Well, I'm probably exaggerating, like millions of customers all over the US for sure, and Canada as well, that they could have tapped, and they blew it. Okay, that's the grim reality of all of this. So what we want to do is give you something that's a lot more powerful. Take a look at Bernie, for example. Bernie is one of our Intervestor students, and let's let her tell her story. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this on GoToWebinar. So let's see if this can play pretty well.
Hi Eric, I was just wanting to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for you producing your Intervestor program. It is by far the best internet program I've ever come across, and I'm happy to report that I've already bought 2 websites this week that are returning 70% plus return on my investment. So I'm happily looking forward to retiring in Costa Rica sooner rather than later. Thanks heaps, I really appreciate it.
Now, that was 70% rate of return, and she's crushing it. This woman is absolutely crushing it. Her monthly income within her first 6 weeks, $5,800. How many would like to have nearly $6,000 monthly income and do that within just a month and a half? That's Intervesting. And the cool thing is, her yields are now at 98%. 98%. She's like doubling her money. And by the way, her plan was to retire to Costa Rica in a while. She retired 5 years early. That's the point. Now, by the way, we'll tell you and share a few stories with you throughout the course of today's presentation. But I want you to understand that we're really excited about it, because our success stories and better yet, our action rate is, I believe, the highest in the industry. Think about this for a second. How many people, when you take a look at anybody who's buying any kind of an online course, what percentage of the people buying online courses are actually taking action on what they invest in? Anybody have any ideas? The answer is going to shock you. Yeah, you have Ted. I thought it was 10% also, but it's not. Eric did the research. And Eric, what is that number?
It's 1.7%.
1.7% actually take action on what they buy. They buy shelf help. They don't do anything with what they buy. And by the way, I will admit, I'm sure all of you will admit, to having invested in some training and education and then never opening it up, right? Well, we are thrilled and proud to be able to boast a 40% action rate. Okay, our buyers are doing, 40% of them are actually acting and getting themselves into profitable websites. That's huge. And by the way, that's not good enough for us. We want to take it to 100%, which is why we created our Buyers Club, so that people would actually be on the road to success through inevitability, through actually guaranteeing their success because they're buying part of a site with others together. And that's what Buyers Club is about. We'll tell you more about that later on. But let's talk about something. What is the best niche, or what are the best niches for investing right now online? What do you think? Anybody have any suggestions? Pop them in the chat. We'll see if you and I agree. Okay, there's some pretty tremendous, fast-growing sites that are available for us, fast-growing niches. Okay, Alicia says Forex. Excellent. Good. That's a good one for sure. Bill says dating. Ted says gaming. Excellent. Well, you know what? Let's just jump right in, because you guys are right on target. Gaming is our number one. There are some incredibly addicted gamers out there. incredibly addicted gamers. Okay, so that's number one. And by the way, this is not any priority. These are like our top four. Next is health and diet. Okay, health and diet people, weight loss, running nutrition, all this, giant profitability here, giant opportunity for you. Then, of course, dating and relationships. Okay, that will never go out of business. And from the standpoint of finding somebody new to retaining the person that you lost and all that, all of that's available. And then the making money side. I picked probably the tackiest picture I could possibly pick for you guys on this one. But yeah, Forex is among them. So it's investing, make money online, how to start your own business, how to buy business, whatever. All of those things are highly popular. Now, what you don't want is to do sites that are trendy. Okay, what you don't want are sites that are like this.
Actually, we went and spent about an hour trying to find a niche that really wasn't going to work, and it was really difficult to do, actually. But these are the options that we came up with. I think one was spray on hair, and the other one was this weird sock thing you put over your head to stop anyone else from looking at your screen. So if you find sites like this, I would recommend that you stay away from them.
The bottom line is use your brain, right? And so you understand something. The 43% of the businesses that failed, of that 90% failure rate, were because people didn't want what they had. So that's really bottom line here. So
and with a startup, you never really know whether or not it's what somebody wants. Whereas with an existing established website, you know, because people are already buying.
You've got history to play with. That's super key. So let's go take a look at our next step is going to be doing the due diligence. Find out whether what they're representing is actually true. So we're going to have to verify a few things to make sure that we know, just like you would bring in a home inspector when you buy a house, we have a complete inspection toolkit to help you get the answers to know and be comfortable that you're completely safe. We'll start with verifying the traffic.
Yeah.
We'll then go ahead and we'll look at recent changes in the website itself to make sure that it's consistent with what they've been representing. We're going to verify the ownership of that site. We'll verify the income of that site, and we'll verify that the content of that site is actually real, isn't plagiarized, and isn't duplicated all over the web. Because that's the last thing you want to do is buy a website you think is unique, but yet 37 other people bought the exact same thing that was just copy pasted, and you got ripped off. So we want to make sure you're buying safely. Wouldn't you like to be sure that you are completely safe? So that's what we're going to do. So going straight into verification, let's take a look at verifying traffic.
Yeah, so we're basically going to stick with showing how to do this in Flipper because that's the easiest way to do it. So in Flipper, you'll see there's on the right-hand side there's little icons and file downloads that say verified Google traffic. Now, what this basically means in a nutshell is that this traffic has been verified not only by Google but also by Flipper. So you can be 100% sure when you find these that traffic is real. And so generally when you're starting out, this is what I recommend to do. The next step is to look at the traffic. And if you look at this chart, and let me just say overall, one of the great things about buying websites and doing business online like this is that you can get all of this information really, really easily. It's not like real estate where you got to dig around and go to the councils or municipalities and search through stuff.
Yeah, you can do this from your couch.
You can do it from anywhere. You can do it from the beach, and I regularly do. So look at this traffic. You can see it's got peaks and troughs and things, but it's generally really quite stable. So this is really good. And the number of visits, fantastic, 128,000, of which the actual number of real individual people is 96,000. Now, the difference between uniques and visits is visits are all of the pages that have been accessed. Uniques are the people that have accessed those pages. So in this instance, we've got great traffic and it's nice and steady and stable. I would prefer to see it generally growing, but it's okay for it to be stable. In fact, it's fantastic to be stable.
beats the alternative of having it drop. And
Yeah,
we've seen tons of things dropping.
Exactly. So, and the thing is, it amazes me how many people buy websites on a dropping income as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's extraordinary. And websites with no income at all. And as investors, we've been trained by real estate to look for blue sky opportunity and not care so much about the income. Because all of the profit is in the capital growth. Well, in Intervesting, you've got both. And so we really focus on the income because we know that the capital appreciation is going to come regardless. So really what we're buying for is for good, steady, stable income that we can rely on a monthly basis.
I mean, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that when you pay your bills each month, there's money left over. You have more money than month as opposed to the other way around. And it's going to come from cash flow. So we want to make sure that you never have to worry about money again.
And here's a little hint. We might be buying this thing on a 50% multiplier, right? But the banks and lenders, when you go out to finance further acquisitions, they still use their existing formulas. So they'll value the website significantly higher than what you've paid for it. And you can leverage that to the end of the earth. It's ridiculous how much leverage you can get on these properties.
It's huge. So let's keep going because we got a lot more to cover here for you.
Yeah. So the Wayback Machine is basically where you can have a look at what the site was being used for in the past. So, you buy a house, you don't know what happened in it beforehand. It could have been a crack house for all you know. Whereas with the Intervesting, you can actually go in and check and see exactly what people were doing with it in January of 1996 and so on and so forth. And the beauty of this is that it gives you a chance to see that there's been some consistency in the offer over a period of time, and that's really what we look for. We look for something that has consistently been, if it's a pet supply store, then it's been consistently a pet supply store throughout the history of its existence.
And that's important. But we want to do more than that too. We have a couple other things too.
Yes, so we check to see, we go to either whois.sc or Flipper often will do this. Check to make sure that the seller is actually the owner.
Just a little detail.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised, people try to sell all sorts of things that they don't own. So in this instance, we look and we find and we discover that it really is them.
Yeah, and then we want to prove the income. We want to make sure that what they say is what is real.
Now, bear in mind, like with anything, lots of documents can be faked, and so we don't rely upon screenshots, although I see lots and lots and lots of people buying sites and buying all sorts of stuff based on this. They get a piece of paper or they talk to a seller, and it's not just in Intervesting, it's in real estate, it's in every niche in the world.
You think all those screenshots that people show up that put on their websites about, I made $7,000 this week on an email promotion, you think that those are real screenshots?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Yeah. So what we do is we actually ask the seller for a video proof, and preferably not even a recorded one. What we do is we just basically say, hey, can we get on Skype, share your screen, take me through the back end of your system so I can see the income.
Live.
And if you do it live, then it's a lot better because it's not a rehearsed thing. They can't sort of take you to what they want you to see. You can ask questions and ask them to show you their PayPal account, show you their authorized.net account, and so on and so forth. And often what you'll find is if it's a popular site and it's making good money, you'll see orders coming through during those recordings, and that is always a wonderful thing.
It's a great selling tool for them.
Yeah,
they should. If they were smart, they'd be like, I want a phone call with Eric. Why don't you buy something now?
So this is really important. It's absolutely critical that you get that video proof. And if they won't give it to you, then just move on to the next one.
Yeah, don't even waste your time any further. If they're not willing to do it easily, if they're going to give you a hard time about it, next. There's plenty of other opportunities out there for you to get involved in without having to worry about somebody that's not being forthright.
Yeah.
Because that's the prime indicator. But there's more.
So the last step is we go and we check with services like Copyscape, and again you can do this directly in Flipper, and you click on that little button, look closer at for potential copies, and you'll have a result hopefully that says no copies found, which basically means that the content is unique. It's a unique website on the internet, and there's no one else that's got the same stuff basically. And that's, if you fulfill all of those steps in your due diligence, you're well on the way to having found a highly profitable, successful website business that you can take over.
And you'll feel comfortable and you'll feel safe, which is perfect, right? Now let's take a look at what you could have done other than doing your own website. So let's say, for example, you were in the tech boom, right? Were these websites great investments? Everyone's like, oh yeah, Google and Amazon and giant valuations and LinkedIn and so on and so forth, right? Let's take a look at how they actually performed. If you invested $1,000 in LinkedIn, your annual profit would have been 71 cents.
Terrible.
AOL would have been a big success. You would have made $44 on AOL if you put $1,000 in. Okay, and Google, oh, even better,
Now,
46.
now, I mean, people would look at that and actually say, oh, okay, well, you know, a 4% return, that's the kind of return you'd expect out of real estate, and you'd probably be pretty happy with that. But in my mind, it's terrible, particularly when you look at what we're about to show you.
They pale in comparison. Get a load of this, you guys. The average revenue that came from a Flippa.com purchase, $882 on 1,000. Again, that's nearly 100% rate of return. Okay, that's what we're talking about.
That's the average.
That's the average. Remember, the average site sold for $1,200. So if that $1,200 brings you in 881 or 900, that is pretty significant. Okay, does that say good deal? So that's why we're so focused on having you do this and do this right. Here's a perfect example. Lucinda Brummett, having gotten started with us at Intervestor, she got her entire investment back in just 4 months. I mean, that's what we're talking about. So we want you to be able to be a great investor. See, here's the thing. We're talking about what you can do in a bunch of different ways. Number one, as an investor. Number two, as a business owner. Number three, as an alternative to a startup. The fact of the matter is you can be whoever you want in a role that you choose once you find the ideal property for yourself, right? Now, by the way, remember, stick around because we're going to give you at the end of this the 8 key steps to investing so you can follow those steps. But getting started, you guys, getting started is super easy. So if we're going to use Flippa as an example, and by the way, we in a bonus session or section rather of our members area, we reveal 27 different sites you can actually go to buy a great web-based business. But let's start with Flippa, and all you do is just set up your account.
Yeah, so, you know, to actually begin this process in the buying phase, once you've identified a bunch of good sites, you've picked one, you've evaluated that, and you've decided, yes, this is a go. The next step that you need to take is just to sign up as a buyer with Flippa. And so you just drop that, you know, I mean, it's the usual sort of sign up form. You drop that information in. After this page, there's generally a few others that you can do things like confirm your phone number and different things like that. All good things to do because it increases the seller's confidence in you as a buyer. But once you've signed up and you've done those few bits and pieces, you can then literally go to the listing, place a bid, and hit that place bid button, and you're in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it really is that simple. So you can get started immediately. Okay. Now, by the way, if you can go ahead and do something as simple as sign up for that, you can make this happen. I mean, this can be your lifestyle.
Pretty much, if you can send an email, then you've got all the skills that you need to do this.
Now, we have a lot of people that say to us, but that's great. Now that I've got this website and I own this website, what do I do? I mean, how do I run it? I don't know a whole lot about this. We've always said that you don't need to be a web expert. You want to be more of a strategist than an expert in how to run a website. So
let me put it this way, Ken. Yeah. Those of you that are homeowners, right, and there's probably quite a few of you, are you a builder or a plumber or an electrician? And I'm just going to jump the gun here, and I'm going to guess the answer to that is no. You're probably not. But yet you're able to own a home, right? So it's exactly the same with Intervesting. You don't need to be an internet programmer. You don't need to be a web developer or a graphic designer or even a copywriter for that matter. You just need to know how to run a business, right? Because you can find the web developers, all of these people, and get them to do it. And the beautiful thing is, and what we're about to show you, is that there are places on the internet where you can find literally tens of thousands of these highly skilled workers to help you run your business or even completely run it for you, which is exactly what we do.
And at the end of the day, many of these companies that you're going to be buying already have teams in place. You're just taking over the existing staff.
Yeah, a lot of instances.
So all you're doing is managing it. All you're doing is really maintaining it.
And let me qualify. It's not staff that you're taking over. You're taking over connections with contracted workers. So there's no payroll. There's none of the normal sort of business management and administration stuff that you need to do.
bottom line, you got freedom. Now, what you're looking at right now is the page for Odesk. Well, which used to be called Odesk, it's now called Upwork. I still got to get used to calling it Upwork. I keep thinking it's Up Yours. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know where they got that name from. But bottom line is, whether you use Fiverr or Upwork or any other outsourcing ability, you have the ability really, again, to run a virtual life. So if you need a project done, or if you want to bring somebody on board that's a virtual assistant, those options are completely there. I have a team of about 8 people that work with me all over the world, from the Philippines to Malaysia to the US. I have people that work around the clock for my businesses, and they're all independent contractors, so they can be deployed as needed to serve the needs of the organization, which is super. So you have the ability, again, to bring in whatever experts you want to do whatever you need at incredibly affordable prices. And once again, it gives you the freedom. If you want to go ahead and bring somebody in, let's say we're going to go to Odesk, and this is an old Odesk slide that we made. You just create a free account, same as you did at Flippo or anywhere else, and then you go ahead and post the job that you want. And there's some strategies for that. We talk about that in the training, about how you go ahead and get the right person for the job. But once you post it, you're going to find that you'll start seeing people vying for your love, vying for your attention, because they want to work with you. And you'll find people from all over the globe, from Bangladesh to Toronto to Malaysia. I mean, they're everywhere. And that's the beauty of this, because again, you can have a team that is based around the globe. So just like us, we can work with our clients all around the world. That's the beauty of it. And again, I guess to give you an example of someone who went ahead and did just that, check out Steve McKinley. Steve went ahead and bought a website for $75,000. The income from it, was this his gross or his net?
Net. Yeah.
Okay, this was his net income of $3,200 a month, or $38,000 a year, $39,000 a year rounded. That's an ROI of 51.6%. But take a look at his busy day. He's sitting on his boat drinking a cup of something. Don't know what it is. But the point is, he's outsourced his entire business. So he can go ahead and have the lifestyle that he wants on his own terms, and has a team that runs his business for him. Now, that's the beauty of this entire process. The objective is cash flow and freedom and independence, right? That's why we Intervest. That's why we Intervest. So if this is what you're wanting to do, this is the way to do it. You can go to Flippa, you can go to websitebroker.com, or not, we have, like I said, we have about 27 different recommended ways of finding sites. These are just some of them: websiteproperties.com, Empire Flippers, who Eric loves. It really does get things a lot simpler when you work with a broker. Now, you will pay a different kind of a price because a broker gets paid in these transactions. But when you work with a broker, as an example, what you're going to find is that there's someone that's helping you get the deal done. So it is someone that's also helping you.
They pre-vet a lot of sites. So that's the beauty of using them, is that they make sure that the site's good quality before they put their name to it. And companies like Empire Flippers, there's a lot of good brokers out there. We work very closely with a bunch of them, but the good ones will not offer anything unless it's a really worthy site. And so it actually takes some of the potential risks out.
Yeah, and remember, at the end of the day, you have the opportunity to go into the property you're buying and go ahead and enhance it if you want. We're always going to be looking at, one of the strategies, of course, is to look at where they are and what opportunities they've not capitalized on that you can bring to the table. So you can bring a website that may be making 10 grand a month to making 20 by tweaking it. And again, that's another fundamental part of what we'll be doing. But if you're looking at the typical lifestyle that's out there right now, and that's, whoops, let me back that up there, and that's like this, right? The bottom line is, I don't want you to be a hamster, on the hamster wheel. I don't want you to be on this treadmill towards money that leads you to no place. That's not what I'm looking to have you do. What we want you to do is really be able to dive into something that's going to be a lot more fun, with a lot more freedom, and be able to tell your boss exactly what you want to tell your boss, because that's what it's all about. Well, I want you to be able to do this because it's fun and because you have that freedom. So one of the guys that did that was a guy by the name of Tommy Freeman. Tommy went ahead and amazing story, $700 was what he bought for he made $700. He
bought a site for $760, and in, I think it was weeks 2 through 5, it made him $700 in just 21 days. So that site actually paid for itself within the first 5 weeks, I think it was, of him buying it.
Now, you're not going to get rich on $700, but $700 coming in on a regular basis
Well, that's
is
over
pretty...
21 days. So that particular site that cost him $760, I was speaking to him. He was one of our earliest members. That site's consistently made him $10,000 a year for the last 2.5, 3 years now.
That's
so,
nice.
Yeah.
So you can go from any level that you want. Here's another...
He spends about 4 to 5 hours a month on that site.
Yeah,
he actually just looks after it himself.
That's fantastic. I mean, and you can if you want to. We're trying to give you the freedom of not having to be a slave to a business. Sean Candy, I love that name. I keep thinking of John Candy, the comedian. He bought his website, one of his sites, for $14,000, brings in $1,500 a month on average.
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking about averages here, you guys, because some of the sites will have seasonal and even monthly highs and lows, of course. First week of the month may be bigger than, or last week may be bigger, depending.
Actually, that site was peaking at when he first took it over. It is a bit of a seasonal business, and so I think he made about around about $4,000 a month for 3-4 months, and ended up paying for it. And the seller actually came back to him and asked him if he was willing to resell it to him for $18,000 because he had another buyer who was willing to pay $22,000 for it. But he opted to hang on to it.
Yeah, so you'll have those opportunities, but 128% return on investment is not so shabby. So so that's just the beauty of that. So my question for you guys is, how many of you would like to learn exactly how to do it and become part of this entire process of being an Intervestor? Awesome. Okay, so have you learned some great stuff so far? Alicia's raised her hand. Okay, well, then let's do this, because as we said earlier, I would only want to talk to you about our program if we can show you what the opportunity is and give you some great content. So with that said, thank you very, very much. I appreciate all of your yeses, everybody. Let's get started and talk with you and share with you a little bit about the Intervestor Inner Circle, because the Inner Circle is just, it's fantastic. It's designed to help you grow and build your interesting business as rapidly as possible. And its foundation is what we call our exclusive quad course system. There's 4 main modules here in the system through the Intervestor Academy. And the first module is about finding the actual deal itself. So you're going to learn website basics. You're going to learn the types of deals and sites that are out there so you can pick the ones that are best for you. You're also going to learn how to discover the sites that are best the easy way so you can save time, because you could be on Flippa, for example, for days and get lost in it because it's just really fun and addicting.
The point is here there is a system, and it's a system that we've developed over a couple of years now, a few years now. And this system helps you to identify the best opportunities in the marketplace really quickly and easily. And it cuts out all the need to kind of go after sites that really, when you evaluate them, aren't going to be very good. So Module 1 really helps you to identify the best opportunities really quickly.
Bottom line, okay, and again, we're looking at potential as well. So we want to find domains that really have the best value for you. And we talk about multiple networks, we need to be thinking as well about how different sites, after you buy your first one, how a second, third, and fourth can all work together. So finding the right sites can be really important. We then go into Module 2, which is all about evaluating the deal. Okay, so that's going to be a combination of even doing our due diligence. Let's take a look at the big picture. We'll evaluate what that is. We'll look at analyzing both the front end and the back end of the deal. People forget about the back end. And then we're also going to take a look and do our due diligence to make sure that what we're getting is what we expect that we're getting, including, by the way, checking out the seller and making sure that we know that they've got a great reputation for. So a lot of these guys, by the way, are serial website builders and sellers. They try a few things, they build it, they sell it, that's their business. Or they thought they had the next big Amazon.com, for example, and it ended up being nowhere what they wanted. I mean, it's making money, but they found something else. They are serial entrepreneurs and they get bored easily. So you'll find a variety of different reasons why they will sell, but we want to make sure that we're talking to a seller that has integrity. So we'll check their transaction history as well. Next, our next module is how to actually do the deal itself. Okay, how to sing your own song and have everybody win. So we're going to talk about how you actually buy it and how to manage your emotions, because we do not want you to be emotionally involved in these transactions. And then, by the way, of course, we've got to give you the stability to know that you can pull out when you need to pull out to be safe. You're going to learn how to buy below market value, which these days is getting more and more of a strategy. So you learn the strategies, basic acquisition steps, and also how to fund your deals. There are some simple ways to do that, and we have some relationships with people that do understand how to fund digital properties. Remember that this is still a new marketplace for institutional investors and even for lenders, because they're still stuck in a storefront mentality. A lot of them are. It's changing, but we'll show you exactly how to get your deal done in a very simple manner. And
you'll also be amazed at how many of your friends and family will turn up on the doorstep when they discover that you're getting 30 and 40 and 50 and 100% returns on investments that you're making, and offer you money right there and then. You don't actually have to look too hard.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then we can jump into module 4, which is growing the deal. Okay, so you'll learn the ultimate profit formula for websites that you acquire. You're going to learn simple strategies to increase the value of those sites. Remember, what you're buying right now is already successful, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can leave it alone and coast, but we want you to build it so it gets bigger and better, and you'll learn how to do that. If you want to flip, you'll learn how to do deal flipping for maximum profit, and then you'll also be able to learn how to increase your automation so you can have more stability. Some of these sites, all they need is more optimization to streamline them. So automation is one great way to do that. And then you can duplicate your marketplace. If you've got something that's growing in one marketplace, you can double that site by going into different markets as well. You'll learn all of that in Module 4. It's a really all-encompassing program that takes you from soup to nuts, from concept to actually having the site and growing that site for long-term growth. That's the guts of our quad core strategy or quad core method. Now, we realize that once you go ahead and you buy your site, you have your site, and grow your site, it's super important that you also have a stable business that's structured properly. So we've also added a bonus module. That's module 5, and that's all about minding your business. Now, you're going to learn some of the basic business structures that are out there and how they serve you best. You're going to learn how to outsource the structure of your business and outsource your business management, how to choose the right vendors to serve you, and the best practices for running your business. So effectively, we'll give you frameworks for your website business so that you're absolutely successful in doing it in a way that really gives you the freedom and the comfort to know that you're on the right track making a bunch of money.
We give you a whole layout for project management system that you can just literally drop into your project manager, and then it takes you step by step through the entire pre-purchase and post-purchase process.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what you'll find in the bonus toolkit that I'll tell you about in just a couple of minutes. You're also going to get access to the Facebook community. There's so much value, of course, in Facebook. So you're going to get high-level networking. You'll be able to connect with both buyers and sellers. You'll be able to get questions answered. We do a lot of our support through the Facebook community because it's as real-time as you can get. Eric is wired on Facebook with his mobile device. So, Facebook has become just amazing as a way of communicating for business. And you'll be able to stay up to date in a very, very efficient and effective fashion. You know what else it'll do for you? It'll also keep you motivated, because when you connect with other people that are doing this business, it really keeps you motivated. If you're feeling lazy, or if you're feeling disempowered or just tired, and you see someone else in the community that's buying a site or negotiating a site or whatever, and they got a great deal, that's the best motivation of all. It's the best way to keep you in the game when you see other people doing it. So you'll be able to access the Facebook community 24/7. You're also going to get some live Q&A sessions. Now, the Q&A sessions, you're going to get 6 months of those sessions for free. Normally, they're $129 a month, but we're going to give you 6 months access to them. They're live, and they're fantastic. You probably won't need to go longer than 6 months, so we're giving you 6 months to get in, get what you need, and get your sites purchased. Get your income made. Then you're going to also get the ultimate buyer's checklist. Now, I created this buyer's checklist so that it will be like a pre-flight checklist, as if you were flying a plane, for example. You want to be sure that you catch everything you need to catch to make sure your due diligence is right on, that you don't miss anything, so that what you buy is the right business that has all the ducks in a row. The last thing you want to do is buy a house that's full of termites. The last thing you want to do is buy a site that's got its own type of termite. So that buyer's checklist will help you a lot. And by the way, it's not just about due diligence, it's also about the right structure and opportunity to be able to look at what you do the minute you take ownership of that website. Really important. It's a $50 value and it's going to be yours the moment you become a member of the inner circle. You're also going to get access to the toolbox, and the toolbox is giant. You're going to learn and have the tools to evaluate and fine-tune the business that you're buying. Now, that's a $50 a month benefit to you, because here's why. Number one, you're going to actually going to get access to the Terrific 27. Those are the 27 different sources of websites, but also a lot of the tools that you're used to buying for yourself that you might spend $20 a month on, $30 a month on, $50 a month on, whatever it is. We've got a bunch of them in the toolbox that you can use on our site that we've already secured access to for you. So you don't have to double your expense. You can use our toolbox to get answers and research done for you. It'll save you a bunch of money. You don't need to go there.
I just want to make it really clear. The toolbox is actually software as a service. So what this does is it actually allows you to do all of your due diligence, do your seller evaluation, do a whole bunch of work, all from the one place. Whereas if you are without the toolbox, you're going to this website to check that, and you're going to another website to check something out. Remember, we looked at going to whois.sc and doing all that sort of stuff. Well, what the toolbox does is it brings it all back to you in the one place on the one page. And it also sources websites from a whole bunch of brokerages, from multiple net sales networks, and it just really super simplifies the whole process.
Think of calling it Investor Central. It's everything you need in one space right inside that toolbox. It's going to be really, really helpful for you. But that's not all, because you're also going to get access. I can get to the right button here. Here we go. To our Inner Circle members' resources. Inside the resource area, which is different than the toolkit, you're going to find our document kit. Now, the document library, rather, is full of all the contracts and documents you're going to need to get the site purchased. So think about spending thousands of dollars on the legal work. You won't need to do that. We've done it for you. And the value of that is thousands that we've spent in developing the documentation. You're going to get access to preferred listings that we have here in this particular area because of the relationships that we have. If there are events that are coming up, you'll have access to those, and you're also going to get access to Eric's book called The Intervestor. So lots of stuff there, thousands of dollars of value. The document library alone worth its weight in gold. If all you use was that, you'd be a lot years ahead of the game. But again, that's not all as well. You're also going to get access to our Done For You VIP membership. Now, that's a $500 membership activation, but what that does for you is it allows you to get your needs assessments done. By the way, there's some things that are included here that you'll get gratis. There's some things that you'll be able to have access to buy at preferred prices. So it really depends upon what you need in terms of what you're going to be utilizing here within your VIP membership. So the needs assessment, your due diligence can be done completely for you, and will give you access to probably the best due diligence company on the planet through your VIP membership. Site management, so that you don't have to run your own business yourself. There's a team of people that we have on our team that can manage the sites for you. And again, you just pay whatever the cost is of operating that. Transferring your sites, working with preferred vendors that we've vetted for you. So the people that we use, you'll get to use as well. And of course, as I said a minute ago, you'll get preferred pricing on all of this. So that way you get to save more than what the average person is, and you get to pay a whole lot less and get better service.
Guys, you don't need to know how to transfer a site, right? And I get it, because you look at something like that and you think, wow, that's a little scary. What does site transfer actually mean? And, you know, I don't do any of this, and I've been investing for a very long time now. The key to doing this business is exactly the same as that house owner analogy that I used earlier on. You actually call someone, and in this case you click on a link, and our people will go and get that all done for you, and the cost of it is very low, and it's done professionally, and you don't have to think about it. So much of running a website can be, if you allow yourself, very intricate and involved and very detailed and technical, or if you don't allow yourself, and you actually follow the Intervestor formula. You don't need to know any of this stuff. You just can get people to do it.
Just think about this. Think about it as really being your concierge services. That's what this really is. It's having your own concierge to do the work for you. But for those of you like me that want the rate of return but don't want any work to do at all, we've taken care of that as well because we've created Intervestor Capital. And this is fantastic. Intervestor Capital really is an investment club. I'm sorry, an investment fund. You get to leverage our knowledge and our connections, and we do all of it. It's basically as if you were investing in any kind of a stock or mutual fund, except that what we do is we buy web properties, just like you've heard us describe earlier. We do all of that, and you are an investor that sits back, you make your investment, you sit back, and you capitalize on average returns of 25% and up. And we're looking at the and up. We won't ever overpromise because we want to make sure that we're staying in compliance with all regulations. But you're looking at average returns of 25% or more. And we're looking at doing bigger deals. We're not looking at $10,000 deals. One of the things we're working on right now is a website that's nearly $2.5 million that's bringing in a 50% rate of return.
It's actually a little higher.
So I'm being conservative, Eric. Okay. So the bottom line is we're looking at some multi-million dollar projects. And by the way, we're dealing with some institutional investors. So you get to play in the big leagues as being part of the investment team. Now, when I say part of the investment teams, it means being one of the investors, okay, and owning a share in that particular investment.
This is how you make investing passive.
Yeah,
completely 100% passive.
It's a $1,000 initiation fee, but we're waiving that for you because as a member of the Inner Circle, that's one of the benefits of being in the Inner Circle. So you get to go ahead and actually be part of some super deals. And I think it's really cool. If you think about going to a cocktail party or going out with your friends, and it's like, so what do you do? Oh, I own part of a $200 million or a $2 million website. I mean, yeah, that's pretty significant to be able to brag about that. But bragging rights without money is worthless. Bragging rights with a 25, 30, 35% rate of return, that's pretty killer, right? So we want to be able to give you that opportunity as well. And again, it's completely optional, but you now have the ability to invest with us if you choose to. But that's not all, because when you join Inner Circle, we've just added this great bonus. We thought about how can we make things even better for you. So we're giving you access to Intervestor Live. We've just announced this. It's going to be 3 incredible days in December. Right now we're looking at December 4th, 5th, and 6th. Don't have a location for you yet. It'll probably be someplace like San Diego or Phoenix or someplace nice and warm for you in America. But it'll be 3 days with everything you need to know on how to actually build your Intervestor business and build your Intervestor lifestyle. We're going to have experts on not just investing, but utilizing your 401k and IRA, your retirement funds to invest with. You'll have some lifestyle experts to how to travel the world inexpensively. You'll learn due diligence right there in the room itself. I mean, it's incredible. So between Eric and I and the balance of the Intervestor team, plus some world-renowned experts on investing and capital management and growth, and also site hacking, so you can multiply the value of your site, not just talking about from startup standpoint, as most people are doing, but actually how to take an existing site and 10x your profits. You learn all that over those 3 incredible days in December. Now, the tuition for that, it's a $2,000 tuition for those 3 days. Okay, it is not a pitch-a-thon. It is an event where you're there to learn and grow your business. $2,000 tuition, yours absolutely free when you join the Inner Circle. So let me summarize what all this really is, okay? Because I know people are in the chat saying, okay, how do I join? Here's what you're getting when you become a member of the Inner Circle right now. So the Inner Circle is a $1,995, a $2,000 annual membership. Okay, that's what the retail price is for Inner Circle. Okay, with that you get the four quad core modules. You're also going to get the bonus module, which is a $297 value. You're going to get 6 months of our weekly Q&A calls, which is a $774 value. You're going to get access to the Intervestor Toolbox, which is a $50 a month membership. You'll get that at $600 a year. Of course, the resource area with all the documentation is priceless. You're going to get access to that as well today. You're also going to get access to our Done For You VIP Concierge membership, $500 initiation on that. Access to Intervestor Capital, which again normally is $1,000 just to say hello. And you're also going to get a free ticket to Intervestor Live, $2,000 value. All that together is a value of $6,563, but you know that you're not going to pay retail here. You knew that going in. That's not going to be $6,563. It will be today, right now, only $997. So $997 will get you access to all of that. And by the way, when you join right now, you will have instant access to all the modules inside of the members area. So that's what we're doing. And I'll tell you what, that price is going to be available for you for the next 24 hours only. But I got to tell you, just like everything else that you're used to, there is a sense of urgency here. And the sense of urgency is not just waiting longer. Sense of urgency is that we got some extra bonuses that we're throwing in, and they're limited time bonuses. So let me share with you what we've done super special for you, because frankly, I'm so excited about what you're going to get. First of all, I talked to you a little bit about Buyers Club. We're going to give you access to Buyers Club. Now, what really is Buyers Club all about? Buyers Club is, frankly, when I told you that we have a 40% action rate and we want to take it to 100%, what I wanted to do was make sure that we would ensure that was possible. So what Eric and I came up with was Buyers Club. Buyers Club, which is completely optional, by the way, if it was going to be sold separately, which it will be soon. It's brand new. We just announced it last week. Buyers Club is designed that each of our members will put in $5,000 into a deal that we find specifically for the Buyers Club. So with a minimum of 20 people, it's kind of like a Kickstarter campaign. With 20 people coming in at $5,000 a piece, we can buy a web property for $100,000 paying cash for it. And that's the idea. So your investment, your $5,000 in Buyers Club, buys a share in a site that we're going to buy together. And during the course of that acquisition process, you're going to be watching through live webinars, live hangouts, however we do it technically. You'll be able to see exactly what we're doing, from the selection process to the due diligence process to the negotiation process to the actual closing process to the management process. You'll see all of it, because what you're doing is you're coming in as a co-owner with everybody else. It is a co-ownership opportunity. This is not about a book report. This is about actually being a real investor. Now, if you're in Buyers Club, you're buying. Okay. Now, don't worry that if you're a member of Buyers Club today, they got to put $5,000 in the kitty today. You don't. Buyers Club, your activation would normally be $2,000. You'll get your activation, or your initiation fee rather, complimentary today only. And then when it's time to actually buy the site, you'll put your $5,000 in. So you have time to get your money together, and either go into your retirement fund or increase a line of credit or whatever you choose to do, so you can do that on your own schedule. What we're going to look to do is have everybody's funds in place just before we go out and buy the site, so that we don't have to wait to the last minute. But the point is that Buyers Club is optional, but it gives you the freedom to know that you're part of a bigger group, and you will have your success as guaranteed as possible. Now, nothing in the world is ever guaranteed. In fact, you're your own best guarantee. But Buyers Club gets you active immediately, gets you into buying sites, and really makes it real. So you don't have to do this all by yourself. You're part of a bigger whole. Buyers Club is gigantic, and the enthusiasm for Buyers Club so far has been incredible. We only have 15 spots available right now. Again, we announced it last week. We have 15 spots available, at least at last count, that we can allow into the first Buyers Club investment, okay? Because we're looking at 20 people involved in this right now. So it's really gonna be the first 15 people that join us. If this excites you as it excites me, go to intervestor.co. That's not .com, but .co. Intervestor.co. That wasn't a typo. Intervestor.co. We'll put that in the chat for you. /yes. So it's intervestor.co/yes. I'll put that in there for you right now. .co/yes, which is the answer that I want you to say to your success, right? Is just what's successful to you. That's your first bonus, but I'm just getting warmed up. Because when you come into Buyers Club, we really want to know more about you. We want to know how we can strategize and make you so much more successful. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down with you one-on-one and put together your own strategy. We're going to listen to what you want, and we'll mount your own personal strategy session. It's a $500 value. It's actually worth more than that. But we'll sit down with you and, again, determine what your best way forward is. And of course, we can't do that for everybody. So the next 24 hours, whoever is joining us, you'll get that as well. We want to make sure that what we do is support you because you are the most important person to us. We want to make sure that you create the success that you want. Remember, we don't need to have students. We could keep buying our own sites, but we love and we're inspired by being able to give you the tools you need to live your life on your own terms. That to me is most important, and I know Eric shares that as well. So that's super key. Now I'll tell you what. You're going to get Intervestor Live 3 days in December with us, and you're going to come by yourself to Intervestor Live. What we think is most important, though, is when you come to an event like that, you're going to get to network with people from all over the globe. People will be joining us from all over, from the UK, from the Netherlands, from Australia, from New Zealand, of course, from the US, from here in Asia, where Eric and I live. We have people that we expect coming in from South Africa. I mean, this is going to be a worldwide event. Now, we know that a lot of you are not in this all by yourself. You have a spouse or a business partner, or son or daughter, or someone that you really want to learn or grow with too. What I don't want to do is have you come to this event, come back all excited and motivated and in a state of total let's get down to it, and have somebody at home not understanding or sharing exactly what you've learned. So what we want to do is give you a discount on a second ticket for Intervestor Live. And so what do you think we should do? What kind of discount should we give you on that $2,000 ticket for Intervestor Live? What kind of pricing, special pricing, should we give you for that second ticket to Intervestor Live? And I've got Lou says 50% off. I've got Ted says $400. I've got, I knew somebody would come up with the F word. Well, that's exactly what we've done. We're going to comp you on one additional ticket for your spouse or your business partner. Okay? It's a $2,000 tuition. You're going to get that absolutely free right now when you go to intervestor.co/yes. And when you go to that site, you'll see a site that gives you a full rundown of everything we've talked about. So to kind of summarize that, by the way, we want to make sure that you have everything. So you're going to get, in addition to everything before, you're going to get the strategy session. You're going to get the Intervestor Live ticket. You're going to get the Buyers Club initiation waived. That's $2,000. That's only right now for the first 15 people. That's a total value of this entire package for over $11,000. But for you right now, it's $997, and it's for life. It's not $997 a year. Remember, Inner Circle is $1995 per year. You're getting access to the Inner Circle with everything we have as a bonus, including the Buyers Club, 2 tickets to Intervestor Live, your strategy session, and so on. $997 one time for life. That's it. Now, I got to tell you, I really did pull Eric's arm. Eric's like, well, let's do it $997 per year. I'm like, no, Eric, let's do this right now. Why are we doing this? Simple. Because I want Buyers Club up and running as quick as possible. I want to get our first deal done. And quite frankly, as we roll Intervestor out to more people around the globe and look at doing more live events, we want your case study. We want to be able to tell your story because that's going to help us grow it bigger. Basically, what you're looking right now is the beginning of our launch process. So the sooner we get more case studies, more people that are actually doing what we're talking about and telling us their stories, the better, because we've got some new programs coming out. So Buyers Club, brand new. We want to get Buyers Club kicking as quickly as possible. So rather than selling it separately, you're getting it for free with Inner Circle. So it's really that simple. You're doing us a favor. And frankly, all we ask in return is that when you get your first site, you allow us to interview you to tell your story, to share what you're doing. And by the way, that's a giant benefit for you, because if you want to create your own investments, or if you want to go ahead and have people investing with you, by seeing you interviewed, by seeing you involved in something that's got so much credibility, will allow you to be able to generate all sorts of money for your own investments. That's the bottom line, you guys. So we want to make sure that you get yourselves involved. Now, this is why, right now, as I said, we have a 40% active rate of people that have taken action, an action rate. We want that to be 100%. And that's why we created Buyers Club. And quite frankly, as I said, even though the investment in Buyers Club is $5,000 to participate inside a Buyers Club, because what you're doing is you're investing, you don't have to do that today. That can be scheduled out when the investment is actually made. So you can bring someone in as a partner with you. That's your own business. If someone wants, if you want to have a spouse or business partner, whatever, put money in with you, that's okay. It's a singular member in Buyers Club. But again, if you're going to partner up, then you can use and leverage someone else's money to fund your Buyers Club investment. Totally cool. Bottom line is you'll be able to manage that. And again, if you need to put your financial affairs in order, you have time to do that, which is super cool. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to www.intervestor.co. That's intervestor.co/yes. Say yes to yourself. Say yes to your life. Say yes to investing. And that will get you all of those benefits that we've talked about. Because quite frankly, you deserve to have all of those benefits. So what we've done so far is, and the fact that you've been with us this long tells me that there's definitely an interest that all of you have in growing your life, growing your business to the next level, in having the freedom to know that money is going to come in every month to support your lifestyle and enhance your lifestyle and give you what you want so that you're living your life on your own terms. And we wanted to make it as easy as we possibly could. So that's our program. If you have questions, now's the time. Let's open up the floor to questions, to answer your questions about what will, what's important to you. So I see Teddy's asking, how much knowledge do I need to have about an online business? And that's a great question, Teddy. The bottom line is, when you are buying an existing business, you don't need half the knowledge that you need when you're doing a startup, because the existing business already has a history, but already has a system in place. And what you're really buying is their system. So all you need to do is manage it. It's sort of like you've already got the wheel spinning. You don't have to start it up again. You just need to keep the wheel spinning. And what will happen is we'll help you bring on a team that can continue to run that system for you, so you don't have to be an expert in website gyrations and SEO and HTML and CSS and any of that kind of stuff. If you want to learn it, fantastic. And frankly, for those of us that have learned a lot of that stuff, having a site that's making money gives it much more meaning to you than just something from the conceptual basis. I know so many people are like learning split testing and stuff, and it's like, you can't really split test if you're only having 50 people come to your website. But if you have 5,000 people come to your website, split testing makes sense. So this is a lot better for you. I want you to think about something this way. When you look at people that are buying franchises like Subway or McDonald's or Burger King, or pick one, Molly Maids, for example, what are you buying? You're buying their system. You're buying their marketing. You're buying their entire system. That's what you're buying. And you're going to spend anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 or more, much more of it in the case of McDonald's, for example, to buy their system. Yes, they'll train you, of course. And then you'll have the privilege of answering to their policies and procedures, because, again, they've got to maintain their brand, and the extra added privilege of paying them a monthly royalty, which, of course, depends upon the franchise, could be 5% to 30%, depends on who it is. If you were going to buy a Donald Trump franchise, for example, and yes, Donald Trump does license the name to his buildings. So some of the Trump towers are just owned by others and developed by others, and Trump gets 25% for just putting his name on a building. So I'm not sure what that's worth anymore these days with what he's been doing, but nonetheless, that's the whole idea of franchises. So you can actually circumvent all of that and save so much more money when you are buying the system of an existing business that's already cash flowing. So this is better than a franchise, because there's no franchise fees. There's no marketing fees you're paying to somebody else. Everything you do with your business is your own. So great question. Thanks for asking that one.
Here's a good one. People are asking, or Tim's asking whether, why are people selling websites so cheaply?
Great question.
And the answer is, and this is probably the most common question that I always get. And the answer is really simple. We're talking about, generally speaking, we're talking about entrepreneurs who are selling to other entrepreneurs. And so these guys are very project driven. They're interested in creating the next Facebook, the next LinkedIn, the next Instagram. And they come up with a great idea, right? And they execute it, and it makes good money. And it's a nice, stable business generally, right? But that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for the huge win. And so what happens is they'll have this business for a while and it finances their lifestyle and stuff like that. But really their heart, their passion is all about the next big project and getting that win. And so they tire of it and they put it on the market and sell it to finance the development of the next big thing that they're doing. And that's where Intervestors come in and pick up these fantastic deals on really rock solid businesses that are generating really good cash flow, and it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it's like when we would look at real estate and we look at people, I'd always ask, why are you selling? And people would be like, who cares? It doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference because you can structure the offer based on what they need. Now, this is a different game, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, people are weird. People are people, and they do things for all sorts of reasons. People, and we think, as Eric said, most people, they get bored. They built it. They're builders. They're not managers. Mm-hmm. And so let them build, let them have their success. They got some cash flow, on to the next thing, and they get distracted. And they may be very successful in other areas. They may have sites that are bringing them in $200,000 a month, and their $10,000 a month site they don't care about anymore. It's just a distraction, so they'll just take the cash and run. It's that simple. So I see that John's asking, what's the average amount of time you got to devote to this? Which is another great question.
Okay, and it's easy to answer. It's entirely up to you. You can outsource literally everything, or you can choose to do the bits that you enjoy doing, which is generally what most of us do. We pick the bits that we like doing and we farm out the rest. So, but to be a bit more specific, there are websites that are just like real world jobs where you can work 40 hours a week if you want to, 60, 80 hours a week. And there are other websites that will operate perfectly well with you spending an hour a month on them.
On autopilot.
And this is the choice, which type of site you buy is really entirely up to you. If you're kind of person that likes to roll their sleeves up and get their hands dirty and get in there, then you can go for it. And you can find websites that do need a bunch of work. But if you want to do a hands-free business, then you just literally pick the right type of website and you can work as little or as much as you want.
And the cool thing is that every type of business you're going to find that's online. We looked at one recently where it required the website owner to actually go to the local store and buy gift cards, for example, and then make them available to the buyers online, which is, to me, not a lifestyle-friendly business. So we looked at that and was like, that's interesting. But what's also kind of cool is looking at different business models and seeing what's out there and being able to even apply some of those to your existing business too.
Yeah, well, there are 5 fundamental types of websites which we go into in the training, and we basically kind of expose all of that and show you, the benefits and the detriments of each one. And yeah, you can pick and choose out of those, essentially.
Remember, what we want you to do is have instant, we should call this instant lifestyle, because that's what this is. The minute you close on your property, you got cash flow. You got business coming in. So pick the business that best suits your cash flow, that best suits your lifestyle. There's another question here that Frank's asking, and that is, what's the best type of website for you? And I may be reading that the wrong way, Frank. So let me see if I can interpret that. The beauty of this is that there's all these conversations about people that are saying, be in a business where you're passionate. And there's other people that say, the heck with passion, just have a business that cash flows. I don't know about you, but I'm probably more interested in business development and lifestyle and entrepreneurship than in plumbing supplies. However, I'm really interested in plumbing supplies if I've got a plumbing supply business, an online business that's making $10,000 a month, and then I can structure it and enhance it to make $20,000 a month. So your passion can very easily be about growth and development and strategy of your business rather than exactly what you sell. It doesn't need to be that. And again, it's whatever you want it to be. If you're interested in things that are new agey, if you're interested in things that are crafts oriented, if you want to be in the dating cycle or whatever, doesn't matter. And by the way, don't let competition scare you. Competition, lots of competition, means that there's a lot of interest in the marketplace. There's a lot of customers out there. And if you have a business that is thriving and making money in a competitive market, fantastic. In fact, if you create, and you'll learn this in the training, if you create a stable of, let's say, 5 sites, if you buy 5 sites this year, okay, you'll set whatever goals you set. We'll work with you on that for sure. But let's just say you bought 5 websites this year. My suggestion is that each of those 5 sites relates to one another in some way, so that the
cross-promotional opportunities.
That's what I'm saying, cowboy.
Abundant.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, cross-promotional opportunities. So website number 1 should be able to sell to website 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 supposed to go to, to 1, 2, 3, 4. And now it multiplies its success. It multiplies your success and your income, all because you strategize. So I don't care. If you want to go ahead and be in the roofing supply business online, then you can completely do that. And then what I would look at some kind of a real estate rehabbing site. I would look at a plumbing supply site. I would look, it doesn't matter. Pick things that you think would be logical that you can cross promote with. Every homeowner would be a person for that.
To give you an idea, and this is a real world example, we have a dating advice site. Now, there's all sorts of ways to drive traffic to any kind of website, right? Get customers to come along. But not long after we purchased that site, we were offered by the same broker another site that didn't make a lot of money, but the price was pretty good. And guess what that site was? It was a dating forum with literally hundreds of thousands of people going through it every single month, writing all sorts of stuff. So that's the kind of connections that you can make. And of course, the traffic that was going to that dating forum was 3 times the traffic that we were getting to our site. And the ease of actually driving some of that traffic to our website was super simple. All we did was we just offered the course, or actually a free version of the course, to forum members when they signed up.
That's fantastic. So think about the leverage. And again, you'll learn the strategies about it may not even matter whether the site cash flows if the customers can apply to everything else that you got. Again, just like we talked about at the very beginning of the session today with the 37,000 user site. Gigantic. And by the way, I do want to send out a couple of congratulations. I see Mary Lou is in. Mary Lou says she's just joined the inner circle. Congratulations, welcome aboard. For those of you that are in, just whether you're processing through or just kind of waiting till the end of the session to do it, just type in the chat, I'm in, so we can look out for you. And also, I'd like to welcome you personally, which is great. So I see Mike is in. Congratulations. Welcome aboard, Mike. Mike from Boston. There's a couple Mikes here today. So that's great. Congratulations. And again, by the way, when you get into the members area, you will see your schedule for the trainings and access to the Facebook group and so on. You'll be getting a bunch of emails, multiple emails, getting you going. So that's also important. By the way, for those of you that are whoops, give me one second here. Let me get out of that. Let me go back to this. For those of you that are wondering how you can finance it, if money is a little bit of a challenge for you, not a problem. We're working with PayPal, and you can get 6 months of no interest and no payments when you go on our order page at intervestor.co/yes. You'll be able to go ahead and use PayPal's Bill Me Later. It looks just like this. When you scroll down on the order page, you'll see Bill Me Later, and you can just go ahead and click. You can go click your PayPal link or this Bill Me Later link right over here and have instant access to Bill Me Later. What it does, it gives you 6 months payments or 6 months free of payments with no interest. And if you need a little tutorial on that, I shot a tutorial video for you last night to share with you how that works. And by the way, it's for U.S. citizens only, or U.S. PayPal accounts rather only. So that's how that will work. And there is a qualification to it. So if you don't qualify for it, no problem. There is a 2-payment plan also at the bottom of the page right over here for you. Again, the bonuses will be departing in 24 hours, actually based on the calendar here, 25 hours. So be mindful of that to go ahead and grab this great offer. By the way, I have no guarantee whether it will be repeated or not. I have no guarantee of certainly Inner Circle will be available, but without the bonuses. Again, Buyers Club is a gigantic bonus, and once we get to our 20, we will probably be selling it independently for $2,000 for $19.97 by itself. So that's gigantic for you. Also, the 2 seats to Intervestor Live, it will more than likely be going, that will go away as well. You'll get 1 seat and possibly, a discount in a second. But again, why would you wait? So I'm going to recommend that you jump in right now. Go ahead and click the button to get you going. You'll get access right away instantly into the members area, so that way you can start tonight if you want, for that matter.
And for those of you who are budgeting, we actually have a payment plan as well.
As I just mentioned, you can go ahead and get started for just $547 if you don't use Bill Me Later, or which is what's now called payment later, PayPal credit rather. So other questions, you guys? Any other questions I can answer for you? Again, you'll go to intervestor.co/yes. Intervestor.co/yes. And it looks like we have, I'm just guessing right now because the things are going through quickly here, I think we've got about 9 Buyers Club memberships still available here. So want to be careful with that. So again, a big thank you and a shout out to Victor. Congratulations and welcome aboard. Julie, congratulations. Awesome. Tim, hey, great to see you. Welcome aboard. You're going to love this. This is going to be fantastic for you. Carla is in. Excellent. Great. Cool. So other questions, you guys? Are there any other questions? Do you see any questions that I need to answer, Chris or Eric? You see anything else you need to answer?
I think you've pretty much covered it all now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, then for the rest of you guys, go right now to intervestor.co/yes, YES, and you'll go ahead and you'll have access to the online course, the bonuses, the extra bonus, the Q&A webinars, the toolbox, Inner Circle resources, the Facebook group access, your Done For You concierge services access. You'll have our support. You'll have, and by the way, we're anal about support and taking good care of you. And of course, your purchase is 100% guaranteed. 30 days. If you're not thrilled, let us know. We want you to be successful, not worried. Okay, so you're completely your success, or better yet, your happiness is completely guaranteed. So you get all of that right now for just $9.97, one payment only. You're not going to have to pay any more than the $9.97 when you full pay today. So with that said,
lifetime access to the Intervestor.
It's pretty significant. So with that said, for you guys, congratulations. Oh, wait. Mary Louise is just in saying yes. Okay, congratulations there. And yes, Don, just go ahead and just refresh your screen because I am in the site. So it is working just beautifully. So don't worry about that. If you have an issue, just type into the chat and Chris will take care of you elegantly because Chris is fabulous. Now I think that covers it. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure. Hopefully you'll be able to take some of the knowledge you've learned and put it into place. And for those of you that have just joined the Inner Circle, congratulations, welcome. We'll see you on the next live webinar. Take care. Bye, everybody.